Hey, welcome back to another episode of Mr. Rocks. In this lesson, this is going to be lesson 8A, and we are going to do a couple of things. First of all, I've redone the artwork. We're going to go ahead and stop making guns and bombs and bullets, and we're going to have, in this game, PhatKids, we're going to have sugary kind of junk foods trying to reach a child, and the child's toys are going to be throwing health food at the junk food. So the little bear will throw broccoli, and the Jack-in-the-Box will throw carrots and things like that. And right now I have just a few of these guys in here who want to take a look at, for instance, T1 icon. We have teddy bears, we have a giraffe, we have a robot, and we have a little Jack-in-the-Box. So this artwork is going to change. In this lesson, I'm going to abstract everything else from the game, and all we're going to do is put a menu area on the stage, and the menu area is going to have a tile, or it's actually going to have the same tile appear 4 times, and on each of the tiles we're going to have a icon of each of the 4 toys, which represent turrets. And then when I click on the icon, I want a turret to appear on the stage. So we're just going to do that part we're basically starting this from scratch, and then after we understand the basics of this part, then we're going to go ahead and apply it to our game. So this is 8A, 8B. We'll go back to our game and change the artwork and add all this code into the game. So starting with the main game area, so my document class for this project, if I look back here on the main project, I see that my document class is main game. If I click on the pencil and go in, this is the main game. Don't have any code yet, and so I'm going to go ahead and start here. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to start with a variable MA, which is going to be of type menu area, and this is like what we did before. I will inside, let's see, this is the class, and so, I don't have a constructor, so let me go ahead and make the constructor for this. This is going to be a public function, and this function is going to have the same name as the class, which will be main game. And inside, won't return anything here, but I will add to this part of the game, I will add a menu area. Or actually, I'll go ahead and call a function called set menu area, and inside the function now, or inside the class, I need to create this function, and so I'll come back over here and I'll say public function, and this is going to be set menu area. And in this particular menu area, or this particular function, I'm not going to return anything, and I will simply create this. I've already done this, but I'll create an instance. So to create an instance, I have to use my keyword new. So I'll say MA equals new menu area, and let's see, so that area, and I use my parentheses, so that's going to instantiate or create an instance of the menu area called MA, and then I will go ahead and locate that. I'll say ma.x is equal to 0, and ma.y is also equal to 0. And then I have to add it, so I will say add child, and I will simply add ma to this, and that should go ahead and do it. If I were to run this right now, I should get a whole bunch of errors. So let's see what's going on. Menu area, of course I spelled that wrong, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. And menu, set menu area. So let's see, set menu area here needs to be spelled exactly the same as it is here. And now one more problem. Menu area, boy, I am just the worst speller on the planet, apparently. So there's my menu area, and so now I'm going to go ahead and add some tiles to that. So there's going to be a string of methods here. So the next one is going to be, after I create this, I would like to add a tile to my menu area. So after I've added the menu area, I can say MA, and I'm going to create a method called add tile, and I'm going to put this method in the menu area. So the way that I attach that to menu area is with a dot operator. So now I go over to menu area, and this class does not have a constructor or that particular method. So I'm going to create both right now. First of all, I want to create the constructor. So this is going to be public function, and it's going to be menu area, same name as the class. and the class name and the constructor are always the same, and that's good to go. So don't need anything in here right now, but what I do need is that method that I'm going to call from the main class, and it's a public function called add tile. So I will add tile here, and the only thing that this is going to take in as a parameter, it's not going to return anything, but it will take in a tile t as a parameter. And so I'll just add that, and let's see, I'll say it won't return anything, and so that's good to go. Now notice I did have this guy created. I also have to have a tile class created, so I've created that tile class as well. Before I can instantiate that or even pass it as a parameter, that has to be a type, it has to be a class that I've created, and I have created that. If I look back in my over here in my FLA file, and I look over here at tile, I can see that I have created the tile, and if I look in here, the tile has this as public class tile extends movie clip. So that's already taken care of, but I should also mention that it is a movie clip, and if I would just look at the movie clip, this is it. So it has, let's say it has some dimensions. Its dimensions are according to this. If I select it, I find out the dimensions are 80 by 100, and so that's the tile that's going to appear on my menu. So let's go ahead and see if we can get that to work. So the menu area now has got a public function called add tile. It's going to receive t in as a tile, so all I need to do is set the t. I need to locate it. Let's say t.x is equal to, and I suppose I'll make that 10, and then I'll have t.y. Now the y is the vertical value, and in this case I'm going to say equals tiles dot length. Now I haven't actually created a length. Good. I haven't created this array yet, but when I do create it, when it starts off it'll be 0, but I'm going to multiply this by I think 105, and I'm going to add to that 20, and what's going to happen is back up here as a field I'm going to create a variable called tiles, which is going to be of type array, and I will in here say let's say tiles is equal to new array. So now this guy exists, and when I check the length out, when I first come in here and check the length out the first time, length is going to be 0, so tiles.length times 105 is going to be 0, so I'll set the first tile at 1020. And then what I'll do is I'll push t into tiles. So the next time I come in, tiles will have a length of 1. And what that means is that when I come back in here, the next time this guy will have length 1, so now ty, instead of being 0 plus 20, it'll be 105 plus 20, and then it'll be 210 plus 20, and so forth. So these guys will be pushed down vertically, as y tells me the vertical coordinate of each of these tiles. And so right now, if I were to run this, I don't get anything here, so let's see, I'm expecting argument right here, add tile, and notice I don't have anything there just yet. So I'm going ahead and create a tile here, and the typical way to do this is I would say, let's say here I would say variable t is of type tile, and then I would say equals new tile. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. We're going to do things a slightly different way in this case, and hopefully this will become clear why we do this. It's kind of an elegant solution, but before I can even do this, I need to consider my tile and say, what is this going to be? And so I will say public function tile, and this guy is going to receive in some parameters, and void. And the parameters that the tile is going to take in, this is going to be one of the more complicated parts of the code. So the tile is going to take in a series of parameters. Okay, so the first parameter that it's going to take in is that it's going to take in an image. So I will go ahead and say image, and this is going to be of type display object. And next, you know what, I don't need all of this here, so I'm going to leave that out. So I do need, let's see, I can put the rest of the other two parameters down on the next two lines. So the next parameter I need is an int, so I'm going to say cost, and this is going to be of type int. Put a comma for the next parameter. Now the next parameter is going to be kind of strange. It is going to be a guy called create turret, but instead of a type that we're used to, it's going to be of type function. And you can actually pass functions in the parameters as parameters. And so now this guy is going to be, those are my three parameters coming in. Now before I can actually receive those in, I need to have some fields set up. And so fields come in between the class and the function constructor. And I'm going to create, first of all, let's say public, and this will be of type, let's see, this is going to be create function, or create turret rather, and it will be of type function. Okay, and I realized that I took create turret here and I didn't spell it fully down here, and so I've got create turret function as a field, and then I'll have let's say a variable, forgot my variable here. Okay, variable, and this guy's going to be private, so it'll be a private variable, and it is going to be the cost. So each turret can have its own cost. We don't really need that for this little demo, but I'll put it in there because we're going to be putting that into our next iteration of this program. And then finally we're going to have public range. So variable will have range, and that will be, I guess that'll be an int as well. Okay, so that's good. So these guys are ready to be used. And now what I'll do when I first come in here is I will set this dot create turret. This dot create turret is equal to create turret. Now the thing that's going on here is that this create turret that I'm receiving as a parameter is here, and when I use the keyword this, the program understands that's referring to the field that's located in tile. So this create turret refers to this field, and so I'm passing in a parameter and I'm setting this function equal to, or it's actually going to be pointing to this function. Okay. In any case, the next thing I'm going to do is cost, so I'll do the same thing with cost. I'll say this dot cost, and now that is my local cost, and I'm going to set that equal to the parameter that I passed in, and so those two guys are set up as well. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate my image, and so I'm going to say image. Now I'm just passing this guy in here as image, so I'm going to say image.x is equal to, let's say, 40, and image.y is equal to, oh, let's say 45. And we're going to add an event listener. And we have to remember that I could use the keyword here, this, but it doesn't really matter. The program understands that I am in tiles. So when I have the event listener, if I don't include the word this, the program understands that it's referring to the event listener is referring to the tile. And so I have an event listener. I'm going to be listening for a mouse event. So I'll say mouse event, and the type of mouse event that I'm going to be listening to is going to be a mouse down. I don't think we've used that yet in this program, but let's go ahead and do that now. We'll just say mouse underscore down. And I'm going to be calling a method called spawn turret. And so spawn turret is going to do exactly what it says. When I click on the tile, when I click on this or when I click on the tile, I'm going to call this public function called spawn turret. And I want the turret. So when I click on a tile, I want to spawn a turret. So to do that, let's see, I don't need any inputs or outputs. And for spawn turret, since this is coming from an event listener, excuse me, I do need an input. I need to say that's going to be a mouse event. So I do have that parameter that I'm passing into this function because it's called from an event listener. And now I've got to create this method. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable, and it's going to be t, and it will be of type turret. And I'm going to say that is equal to a function called createTurret, which I already have passed in as a parameter. And I will cast this as a turret. Now this looks quite different than what we've done before. Even though I have parentheses, I don't have the keyword new. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and cast this as type turret. Okay, and that is the type has a capital T, so I need to have a capital T right here. And that is good to go. Okay, so I've cast that guy, and now I'm going to say if this turret does exist, and the way that I check to see if it exists is to say if t does not equal null, okay, then I'm going to locate it, and I'll just say t.x. Now I'm locating this inside of the tile itself, not the menu area. The tile was located inside the menu area, and now this icon is going to be located, or the turret rather, is going to be located inside of the tile, and so it's a very small space. And so I'll say 15, and t.y is going to be equal to 15 as well. Okay, having done that, then I need to say add turret. Now, add turret is a method that is going to be located in the main menu, and I'm going to send to it this turret that I just created. Now, the way that I call this is I can't just say parent here because I've got layers and layers of things, but what I can do is I can cast, I can say the root, which is the bottommost layer, I can say as, and the root layer is going to be my document class, which is main game, and that is ready to go. Make sure I put my dot here, and so all of that is for the turret. Now if I come back to main game and I look at this, I don't have that guy created yet. So back in tile, I've created a guy called spawn turret. Actually, I've created a guy called add turret. So I need to create this method back on my root, which is the document class. So coming back to main game now, I come back to my document class and make sure this guy is public so that it can be accessed from my other methods. And I'm going to say add turret. And this turret now is going to simply take in t as a parameter, and that is going to be of type turret. And so add turret, this is a function, don't forget my keyword function. Okay, so public function add turret t, and what I need to do when I add this turret is I need to simply locate it. So I will add it to the stage. So I'll say t.x is equal to, let's say, 200, and t.y is equal to, let's say, 200 again, and finally add child, and I will add t. Let's see if I have any errors. Expected an argument here, so let's see what's going on. So add tile. Okay, now this is the tricky part. At this point, notice that I'm adding a tile. Instead of saying variable t equals new tile, I'm going to say new tile right in here. So I'm just going to say new tile. And if I go like that, I will pass in a new tile. But remember that a tile takes in 3 parameters. So I'm going to have to send 3 parameters when I create this new tile. I have to send it an image, I have to send it an int, and I have to send it a function. And so to do that, when I do this, I'll go ahead and say tile, and I'll send it an image, and the image I will send it is from over here. I have created turret icons, and so I have T1 icon. Notice the AS linkage over here, capital T icon, T1 icon, T2 icon, and T3 and T4. So I can use those over here in my main game. I'm going to say new, and I'll say T1 icon, and I'll use my double parentheses, comma. That's my first parameter. The second parameter is just going to be the cost of a turret. I'll just throw in 100 for right now. And the next one is going to be weird. This is the function that we're passing in. So I'll say function, and functions have to have the parentheses, but they also have to have a body. And so I need curly braces to represent my body. Now typically we put these underneath the function but, and that says function. Okay, good. And so all this function is going to do is it's going to return a new turret, and this is going to turn a new turret 1, and that's all. Okay, so I've got turret 1 icon. When I create the tile, that's going to be loaded into the tile, and when I click on it, I'm going to come over here to the menu area. I add this tile, I put the my tile in there, and then when I create this tile, when I click on the tile, I spawn a turret. Spawn turret is going to take in this guy called turret creator. Now this is what I'm passing in. This is just going to return a turret. In this case it's going to return turret 1. And so if I run this now, I have some problems. So let's see what this is going to do. It turns out I probably do not have, oh, I do have that. Let's see what's going on here. I don't have my equal sign here. That's silly. So let's add that. And I don't have the static type main game. Root as main game, add turret. So add turret, I've simply spelled that wrong. Let's go ahead and try that again. And there it is. So nothing is showing up here. I'm going to go ahead and solve that, and I will be right back. Okay, there was one little mistake that I made. I missed one line of code. And so if I come back here to my menu area, I did not add the child. So I had pushed T into my array of turrets, but I did not add it to the stage. And so to do that, I just say add child T. Now that's going to add this. Now if we run the program, we are going to see that our tile appears here, but what I'm missing at this point is I've only got one tile, and so what I need to do here is I need to add the rest of these. So I'll simply go ahead and put in the other tiles, and by copying and pasting this, these guys will all be placed in, and I just have to change each of these. So this again is in the set menu area, and it's going to place a tile in each of these locations. Every time I place a new tile, that array of tiles is going to get longer, which is going to change the location of the Y coordinate. And so they'll go ahead and move down vertically. But I need to change T1 icon. I need to go and change this guy to T2 icon, and I'll change this to turret 2. I need to change this to T3 and T4 respectively, and change this to tile, or turret 3 rather, and this to turret 4. Whoops. Okay, so now that looks like it's all good. I'm still not getting my turrets to appear, and I'm not sure why that is. So T1, wow, T1 icon, let's go ahead and change that to a capital I, wow, I did all of these wrong, T3 icon, and T4 icon. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so I've got these guys appearing. Those are the tile icons. They're appearing on the menu area. I'm still not getting my tiles to appear, or my turrets. So that should be happening right here. New T1 icon, and when I pass that in to my tile, I receive that in as a display object, and it looks like I'm doing the same thing that I did before. I simply need to add child, and it's going to be image, and I need to add that to the tile. So I'm in the tile now. When I add the image to the tile, that should give me the images. Okay, so that looks good. I again made some kind of mistake here, so if I look, I got T1 icon, so this should be T2 icon. So instead of having 2 teddy bears, I'll have each of the 4. And then when I click on this guy, notice I have teddy bear appear here, I have this guy appear, and they're all being located in the same spot, but the functionality works. So I have a menu with the tile located in 4 places. There's a turret icon on each of the 4 tiles, and when I click on a particular tile, that turret gets located to the stage. Okay, now the last and final thing that I want to mention in this tutorial, and this is really important, and that is that the turrets themselves, we're using a kind of a new idea here, and that is that if I open the turrets, notice that I have a generic turret here, and then I have turrets 1, 2, 3, and 4. The turret itself, not much is going on, but notice it's the turret that extends movie clip. But if I go into turret 1, let's say I go into turret 1, and this is true for all of these other 4 turrets, turret 1 doesn't extend movie clip, it extends turret. And notice I have the keyword super in here. And so that's important. And so what this is going to allow me to do is it will allow me to put in side turret the code that is going to be common to all of my turrets. And then with respect to each individual turret, if I want to have differences in turrets 1, 2, 3, and 4, I can put that code in these. So in this sense, turret 1 extends turret. So the super class for turret 1 is turret. Just like turret extends movie clip, turret 1 extends turret. And because turret is a type of movie clip and turret 1 is a type of turret, by extension, turret 1 has access to everything that's inside movie clip, just as turret does. So this is a way of thinking about programming, which is really getting into what object-oriented programming is all about. So that's it for today. Bye-bye.